Crystal Jimenez with Eugene Field Elementary School. I've been in education since 2006. I was a substitute teacher for 5 years, a middle school science teacher for 10 years, and I've been doing elementary for the last couple of years in 5th grade. I plan to keep teaching until the wheels fall off. I love what I do. Today, I'm going to be talking about differentiation and engagement. Brains all develop at different rates, so there's many different levels of learners in any classroom at any one point in time. Some students are at grade level, which is really just a range depicting an average. Some students will be well above and some students will be well below. With all these different ability levels, what can we do in our classrooms to make sure that all students get what they need to be successful? Well, we differentiate. Differentiate isn't a program, it's just a way of teaching that gives every student the opportunity to be successful in some way during instruction, practice, and application. If you're new to this, don't worry, differentiation can be added gradually. Here's a couple low-tech, no copies, no added stress ways to add differentiation to your instruction today. The easiest thing that you can do is front load. Front load is when you explain the requirements or expectations at the beginning of a lesson. This gives students the opportunities to start processing and making connections right away, and they'll be more prepared to take on the work. By having a daily schedule or agenda on the board and student-friendly objectives or learning targets posted and talked about throughout the lesson, students won't be surprised when new ideas are brought up. Plus, it helps them improve their executive functions like organization. Another strategy is to create open-ended activities. In order for all students to be able to understand, enjoy, and contribute to the group, we need to make sure instruction is open-ended. In other words, there are many different answers to real-world problems. Give students relevant questions that don't require a right or wrong answer. This will set students up to make connections. As long as they're challenged in being able to problem solve, we are helping their brains to learn. A couple different examples are like literature circles, where each person has their own job to do. There's the lit luminary who gets to find cool vocabulary words, and there's also the discussion director who gets to create questions to ask the rest of the group to help everybody understand what they just read. You can also sketch main points or do 10-word summaries. Oh, engagement. When students are engaged, it's usually because an activity required cognition and the expression of emotion. This activates both hemispheres of the brain, and neuroplasticity, otherwise known as learning, happens. So what are some easy ways to engage your students? Well, you can start with storytelling. Storytelling is a strategy that can capture both students' cognitive powers and their feelings. The better the story, the more relatable it is, and the more information students retain. In one study, storytelling increased retention by 6 to 7 times over the group who were only asked to memorize the information. You can add movement. The more connections your brain makes to the information, the more likely the information will be remembered. So add some movement. Learning about molecules? Have the students act out molecules. They can be molecules of a gas, a liquid, or a solid. Change it up. Make the molecules different temperatures, like 0 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Celsius. What student wouldn't love the opportunity to literally bounce off the walls for a few seconds? You can always try, take a peek. Many of the tools of engagement are also tools to increase accountability. Try this. Everybody, take a look at your neighbor's paper. If your neighbor has all 3 points we just mentioned, give them 3 points and a high five. If your neighbor missed one, secretly let them know what they missed. Whisper it in their ear and then have them write it down. Students get to feel important, and they also get to look at the information twice, what they wrote down and what their neighbor wrote down, and then have that little talk in between. The Congratulations helps stimulate the brain and release dopamine. And who doesn't love that, right? Getting to feel great about something. Well, those are the few strategies that I have to increase differentiation and engagement in the classroom.